Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to discuss one comment that a viewer left me in one of my videos, and we are going to discuss it. Age gap. Stick around. Hey guys, so I have decided to make this into like a weekly segment. I will pick one comment that is not like a real positive comment and not exactly a real negative comment, just kind of a middle of the road, something that could be discussed on both sides and stir up some strong feelings either way. So this one is about age gap. Yes, this has been beaten into the ground. People have done this topic over and over, but the comment from this individual I thought was interesting, and I don't know where he came up with this age, but he made a comment on one of my videos. I think I had talked about how you could lose friends and family if you move out to the Philippines and you start dating a younger girl. Now, I didn't mention any exact name or, excuse me, any exact age or anything as far as younger, because it depends on how old you are. If you're 70 and the girl is 40, then that's a younger girl, and if I'm 49 and if she's 40, then nobody's really thinking of that as a younger, like a big age gap is not a big deal. But if you're 70, so it just depends on how old you are and how old she is and how big of a gap there is in between. So it's all kind of relevant. Um, the comment, and I'm going to go ahead and throw it up on the screen here. And like I said, I'll do this once a week. But it says, I don't care about the age gap as long as both are at least 30 years old. Other than that, the guy's just being a cradle robber. The aversion towards guys dating girls that are barely out of high school is hardly a feminist thing. They can justify it however they want, but it's still cradle robbing. Only time will vindicate their decision. Now, we'll look at that comment a little more closely here. Now, I commented, I said, okay, so if she is 29, you are robbing the cradle. What if the guy is only 40? At what age is she robbing the cradle if dating a girl in her 20s? Which I thought was a legitimate response to it. But looking at it a little bit more closely, he says at least 30. But then he says barely out of high school. So if you're 29, that's not barely out of high school. But when exactly, how do you determine the age 30? Why not 29? Why not 31? I mean, how do you come up with that exact age? And it's funny how one person might say, well, as long as she's 25, well, as long as she's 35. So I don't know how old this guy is. If he's 70, so then maybe saying at least 30 works for him. But if you're a guy like me and you're 49, then what's wrong with the 29-year-old? I don't really get how he determined that it's age 30. And then again, barely out of high school and 30 doesn't really mesh. I think he's referring to the feminist thing because I said guys have kind of been beaten into the ground in the West about about this age gap being wrong. But throughout history, it's been okay, except for really the last 100 years or so. But this is where I'd like to hear your comments as well. But I had other responses. Now, I posted this in my Facebook group, which is Geo in the Philippines -friends. If any of you guys want to join, we discuss a variety of different topics. And once in a while, I'll throw a comment that I've received out there for people to look at and respond to. But a few people said, her father, if alive, should be older than me. My Filipino's father is 3 years older than me. In regards to other people, it's not my business. Now, for this guy personally, so if he's saying that if the father, for example, is 55 and this guy is 54, then it's okay because the father is older. But I think he's saying that if the father is younger than his age, then he doesn't really feel comfortable. But he's also saying it's none of his business, so he doesn't really care. He's just saying his personal preference. Now, those type of comments I get. He's just saying his own personal preference, and he's not telling other people what they should or shouldn't do. You know, as long as it's between two consenting adults, personally, I don't care either. I have my own preferences and my own check, my own boxes that I want to check off when I'm looking for a serious relationship with a girl over here. And I'm not going to get into that in this video. And I had other comments of people saying, you know, it's a ridiculous comment. Who is that person to judge what makes other people happy? As for people saying negative things to people heading to the Philippines here, is my humble answer based on my opinion. You're a slave and you don't even know it. Stay here and die with nothing while I'm living a very affordable life where I feel content and wanted. Every day you judge me. It's all you have as you trim the grass in your front yard with your sexless life until you die. But it's okay. You'll never know my life, but I know yours. So there are some really interesting comments. Some people have said, you know, age gap in the Philippines can be common. I've seen it quite often actually with older Filipino guys and younger Filipina girls as well. Again, if they're both consenting adults, and if one person isn't being taken advantage of by the other, no problem at all. I suppose if somebody's not taking advantage of somebody, then it's fine as well. Another guy also commented and said, I'm from the US, so can only speak to the Western perspective. The US has some strange hangups on age gaps that much of the rest of the world does not. At the end of the day, who cares what others think about the choices you make? If two people are happy and in love, it doesn't really matter. And the circumstances and age between two adults is nobody's business but their own. I've recently had to come to terms with this myself. In my own insecurities about the age gap with my Filipina girlfriend, she doesn't care. I don't care. We are both happy. It isn't what life is about. Basically, I'm saying, forget the haters. I just want to be happy and in love, as simple as that. Somebody also made the comment that if it's an older woman and she gets a younger guy, she's a cougar in the West, then high fives all the way around to all of her friends. But if an older guy is with a younger girl, it's creepy. But if it's an older girl, she's a cougar, and you know, oh, let's applaud this. You know, some of the other things that I was thinking about that somebody had mentioned, and if you want a successful relationship with a younger Filipina, probably what's going to happen, one or two things. A, she stays here in the Philippines and you guys are married here. B, you're going to have to give her some kids, because even if they say, I don't want kids, trust me, in the back of their mind, they're thinking, I want kids. I'll get him to change his mind at some point. You know, and I think that a lot of Filipinas, that if, let's say you married a 21-year-old, by the time she's 30, if you weren't having kids, I guarantee you she's thinking in the back of the head, or maybe looking elsewhere at that point, even if you're married, because family is such a big deal here. I can't pound it into enough people's heads that if you get married to a younger girl, I don't care how many times she tells you, no, it's okay, it's okay. Trust me, she wants kids. Now, somebody's going to comment down below and give me an example of a time, you know, where somebody married a young girl and it all worked out. And that's few, far, and in between. But I think the majority of you probably can relate and can see where I'm coming from, that if you do marry a younger girl in the Philippines, she will want kids. And if you do bring her to the West and there's a large age gap, chances are it's going to have a hard time working out. So those are some things to consider. And if you do want a higher chance of it to work out, stay in the Philippines. If you have a large age gap, give her kids. Now, an alternative, and some people are totally against single moms, but if you can't have kids, if you come to the Philippines and you are with a single mom, then that fulfillment for her has already been met. She has a kid. She's a mother, you know, she already has that. So that can be an option for a lot of people. A lot of people say, no, stay away from single moms, but it is an alternative. And again, think twice. if you're not going to have kids and you have a large age gap and taking her back to the West, I don't think it's a great idea. If you have a closer, 10-year age gap, 15-year age gap, and you plan on having kids, or you have a kid with a Filipina, moving her out to the West, it can be successful. And there are a lot of stories of successful marriages like that. Again, questions, comments, let me know. What do you guys think about somebody giving an exact age like that? And, how do they determine that age? Why 30? Why not 29? Why not 35? And how do you come off saying you're a cradle robber? Now, again, this guy wasn't specific. He didn't tell us his age. So we don't know. If he was 70, then maybe I get it. He thinks 30 years old is too young. That's robbing the cradle. Yeah, well, maybe because if you're 70, that's a 40-year age gap. But is this, if you're a guy in your 40s or even 50s, why is 29 too young? So anyway, I think I'm going to do one of these a week. And this post, taking this person's comment, I do block out their name, of course. I don't want you guys looking in my comments and attacking this person. I'm not going to let anybody attack him. You can respond to the comment respectfully, with the disagreement, but don't verbally attack anybody. We don't need to do that. But again, questions, comments, comment down below. Let's have the discussion. I thought it was kind of interesting, and I think I will do this on a weekly basis. Take a comment that's kind of a bit on the edge of being either controversial or not. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Let's take it real slow.